morning and welcome to some fun yoga this morning. Thank you for coming to the 7 a.m. part of our class series today. This is your first time joining my class. My name is Julia. It's very nice to meet you. And if you have attended our classes throughout this week, we worked a lot with lower ab work as well as with our hips and hamstrings. And today we're going to follow that trend, but bring a little bit more side body into our practice today and some back conditioning and strengthening, because those are also very important to take note as we work our way to increase the strength and the flexibility as well into our front and back core. And so with today's class, the only props that you're going to need are 2 blocks and then a blanket for some additional comfort. Good. And then you can go ahead and take a minute to grab your supplies here. I'm just going to add a little pillow to my mix. That blanket's in the wash. Cool. And so then as you start to set up, you are more than welcome to be your own DJ for today, playing your own music at home. And yeah, we can go ahead. Once you get all of your props in order, you can come to a comfortable seated position. And as you come into your seated position, you can take your hands onto your knees and take a deep inhale, bringing your shoulders all the way up towards your ears. Good. And as we're up towards our ears, we can lift up through the chest, 2 inches from the navel, nice and tall into the spine, and keeping the integrity of the length into your spine here. And then slowly start to roll your shoulders back, chest lifted, finding minimal engagement into your front core and back core. And if you need to, place your right hand in front and left hand in the back to kind of straighten out through your spine here so that we're not over dipping forward or rounding too far into the thoracic spine, then rounding into the lower spine. We want it to be nice and neutral. And then if you wanted to keep the integrity of your straight spine, you can keep your hands onto your stomach and onto your back if you wish. And then you can start to slowly close your eyes. And start to deepen through your breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the throat. And as we go through these exhalations through our throat, we want to maintain a little engagement into our front core. So as we exhale, finding minimal engagement, bringing the diaphragm up towards the rib cage here. So we can get the most out of our breath at the same time that we get the most out of this easy sitting pose. You can use this Ujjayi breath to guide you throughout our practice today, especially in asanas that require more stability, more strength, and more encouragement from the core to keep us balanced and stable and strong. And when you're ready, you can take your hands to the sides here. We're gonna go through 3 sun breaths. So arms extended towards the side and really allow the movement to move from the pec outward to your hands, getting the full spectrum of a chest and shoulder and side bend opening here. So take a deep inhale, rising arm all the way up towards the ceiling. And flip the palms, exhale, keeping the chest lifted, but bringing the hands down to your hips. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. And one more time, inhale, rise. Good, as we keep the arms up, let's go ahead and create the Kali Mudra here. And as we create this mudra, we can then start to side bend all the way over towards the right side, rooting the left knee towards the ground. Spine is tall, biceps alongside the ears. So keeping that chest nice and open. If we start to hunch forward, just lift up through the chest. Go ahead and extend the arms out nice and straight. Inhale towards the ceiling. Exhale, sun breath. 2 more times. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Good. Bringing the palms together. And then inhale, side bend over towards the left side. Good. Keeping the chest lifted. And maybe bringing the left armpit a little bit more towards the center here. Sometimes we like to twist it towards side bend. Let's make sure that we are nice and straight. Biceps are alongside the ears. Arms going a little bit towards the back of the room. Root through the right knee. And then inhale, rise, palms towards the ceiling. Exhale, release. Inhale, sun breath. Exhale, release. Inhale, sun breath. And then exhale, release. Then one more time. Inhale, sun breath. Exhale, hip hinge, forward fold. Hands onto the mat or to the floor in front. Good. Taking a couple of breaths, rooting through the tailbone here. Arms towards the front of the room. And if you need some support, you can always take your hands on top of some blocks here. Good. And then we're going to inhale, slightly round through the shoulders, chin the chest into a cat spine. Lock your hands into the mat and then maybe bring them just a little wider than shoulder width. And then inhale around through the shoulders and lift up through the chest into a cow spine. Good. And then exhale, release. Into cat spine. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Go ahead and do this for a few more rounds. Good. And then as we're here, you can bring the hands back in front and then just hop right up onto our hands and knees into a tabletop position. And then in our tabletop position, run through the shoulders, a full cow spine this time, tailbone up, chest lifted. Exhale, round through the shoulders, shin the chest, and take cat. And then from here, go into your own rhythm, whether it be continuous cat-cows, good, or maybe adding some hip rolls through your cat-cow movements. And if you are, you can go the opposite way. Maybe even some hips to shoulder side bend into your cat-cow spine. Really anything to allow you to organically move here. Good. And then let's start off with the first twist of the day. So making sure that your hips are high, knees right underneath the hips, and you can have your big toes touch here. Good. You can widen your knees if you would like. And with the right hand, you're going to inhale, rise, right arm towards the ceiling. Bringing the right pec towards the right side of the room. And to deepen your twist, you can flip the palm to the back of the room, lift it through the shoulder, and then bring your hand behind your spine. Good. A little shoulder mobility here. Bringing your left pec towards the right side. Good. And one more breath. And let's go ahead and rebring the right arm towards the ceiling. And then as we exhale, we're going to thread the needle, but we're not going to place our temple or shoulder onto the ground. We're just going to go ahead and hover it and bring it towards the left side of the room. Twist. Inhale, rise, right arm towards the ceiling. Exhale, hover, thread the needle. Good. Inhale, rise. Exhale, thread the needle. Go ahead and do this 3 more times. Find that little bit of core engagement to keep us balanced here. Good. And then once you reach your 6th, you can then take your temple and your shoulder all the way to the ground, tailbone towards the ceiling. And you can either extend your left arm towards the front of the mat. You can extend your left arm towards the front of the mat and maybe slowly turn your torso so that maybe we're getting more of a shoulder opening for the right arm. Or staying in your twist and possibly taking the left hand behind the spine. Good, and bringing the shoulder back. So yogi's choice here. And just taking one more breath. And when you're ready to move on, you can bring your left hand back into its neutral place and then slowly come onto your hands and knees. And then we're going to take it to the opposite side. Inhale, left arm towards the ceiling. Good. And then as we bring the chest up, you can bring the back of the left hand onto the spine. Good. And a little deeper shoulder opening here. And one more breath. Very slowly bring the left arm towards the ceiling, and then 6 times. You're going to inhale, thread the needle, hover. Exhale, release. Inhale, hover, twist. Exhale, release. Good. And go ahead and continue your reps here. Nice. And then once you have reached your 6th one, you can then completely come to the ground in yogi's choice. Right arm towards the front. We can come onto our left arm, or we can deepen our twist by bringing the hand behind the spine. And one more breath. When you're done enjoying this pose, you can place your right hand back into its neutral position and slowly come onto your left hand. Good. And then go ahead and bring your arms forward here, sliding your chest forward as you're bringing your tailbone up into extended puppy pose. So keeping your hips right above the knees here. Good, and your exhalations are just as important as your inhalations here. Forwards after each breath. As we exhale, it allows us to go deeper into our asana, whether physical or mental, in this extended puppy pose. Tailbone's active towards the ground, or towards the ceiling, as the chest is active towards the mat. Good. And then we can slowly come forward onto our forearms here. And then we can come into a forearm plank and hold for 8 seconds. So making sure that our back is engaged, our core is engaged, and our shoulders are right above the elbows here. And we're lifting up our chest in through our spine. Good. And then we can very slowly lift up through the hips, arms, downward facing dog. Pedal up the legs. And we can very slowly start to make our way walking to the front of the mat into our Uttanasana, our forward fold. Find the inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Palms face up, and then inhale, rise all the way up into high mountain. Biceps alongside the ears. Back bend if you wish. Palms together. Exhale, Samasthiti. Nice. And then as we go ahead and rise, arms back up towards the ceiling, keeping our feet together here. Good. You go ahead and take the right hand to the right hip, making it active, pointing towards the ground. From here, inhale, side bend, left arm towards the right side of the room. Good. Rise, right arm to meet the left, lower the left. Inhale, side bend over to the left side. Inhale, rise, left arm rises, right arm lowers. Inhale, side bend. Good. Right arm rises, left down, inhale, side bend. Good. And then you can go ahead and continue switching with each arm. So we can go a little deeper into our side body. Engaging through the glutes. Pressing your thighs, your knees together if able, or you can place a block in between if that feels more comfortable. Make sure that as we rise too, that we create some core engagement so that we are moving with our spine and our core simultaneously instead of just moving with a loose spine. Nice. And then wherever we are at, go ahead and do one more round. And then once you have done your last round, you can inhale, back bend, and then palms together. Let's go ahead and come into a chair pose. Nice. So as we come into the chair pose, just bring your tailbone just very slightly down, getting a little deeper here, lifting up through the chest, and then taking your hands onto your knees, and just going through some cat-cow spinal movements here. So we find a core engagement to keep our hips buoyant enough to not put too much weight onto our knees into the chair pose. So next breath, tailbone out, inhale, rise, chest lifted, tailbone out. Exhale, tailbone in, chin to chest. Inhale, cup spine. Exhale, chest. If it feels better, you can maybe create a little more space in between your legs. Good. One more round. Palms out, inhale, rise, high mountain, back bend if you wish. And then we're going to exhale, release, hip hinge, forward fold. Hands pressing onto the mat, tailbone up, lift up through the kneecaps. Get a little deeper into the forward fold, leaving the chest down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift once more, keeping the spine nice and straight. Tailbone towards the back of the room, legs back. Good. And if you have your blocks, you can place your blocks into the front of the mat here. And you can stack them together at any appropriate height. And we are going to go through some hip hinge dips and little taps with the blocks to kind of open up through the hamstrings a little bit more, as well as allowing us to be familiar with moving from hip hinging and moving from the control of our core instead of just bending through the back to get into any hip hinge positions. So go ahead and take the blocks out and go ahead and from here measure with a straight spine, hip hinging until you start to feel some roundness. If you feel some roundness, we may need to move up and place the block to that height so that when we go and we tap it, that our back is still straight here. Okay. And so whenever you're ready, find that half lift, find that straight spine, arms out, shoulders rotated in the girdle, nice and strong. Engage the thighs, engage the glutes. Inhale, hip hinge tap. Exhale, release. Inhale, tap. Exhale, release. Go ahead, do 10 more. Keep the back straight, engage the back core, the front core. Good. And once you've done your 10, slowly rise, bring your pelvic forward. Hands to the hips, take your breath here. Then rise up through the arms, no back bend, just arms up. Nice. And then we're going to place your palms together, knees together. Exhale, come into your chair pose. Palms to the heart center. Good. And then hands to the mat. And let's go ahead and take our left leg back. Good. Coming into Anjaneyasana. Inhale, rise, arms up towards the ceiling. And as our arms are up towards the ceiling, let's go ahead, create a back bend. Inhale. Good. Exhale, hip hinge. Come into a plank. As you come into plank, knees down, chest down, hips up. Good. And then come into cobra. Exhale, release. Chaturanga, downward facing dog. Good. Walk to the front of the mat. Fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. High mountain. Back bend if you wish. Chair. Hip hinge, forward fold. Taking the right leg back. Come into Anjaneyasana. Rising with the arms and engage the core. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, hip hinge, forward fold. Left leg back. Come forward plank. Chaturanga. Drop the knees. Chest. Good. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Grow the toes. Chaturanga, downward facing dog. Good. And then from here, inhale, rise right leg, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open up the hip crease, possibly creating some circles here into the knee. Keeping the core engaged, left heel rooted. Good, keep the toes pointed. Square through the hips. And then inhale, bring the right foot all the way to the front of the mat. Drop the left knee, top of the left foot, rise, Anjaneyasana again. Back bend. This time, stay here for 2 additional breaths. Good. Exhale, hip hinge, forward fold, plank. Drop the knees, the tailbone up, lower the stomach, chest lifts, shoulders towards the back of the room. Cobra. Release. Chaturanga, downward facing dog. Root through the left leg, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open up the hip crease, root through the right heel. And then go ahead and create some movement into the left hip socket. Good. Inhale, bend the left leg all the way forward. And come into your Anjaneyasana here. Engage the core, arms up, back bend if you wish. Hold it here for an additional 2 breaths. Good. Exhale, hip hinge, forward fold. You know what to do from here. Plank. Drop the knees, tailbone up, chest down. Cobra. Exhale, release. And then this time we're going to curl the toes. Child's pose. Good. Go ahead and take a breath or 2 for yourself here. A little rest therapy if needed. Good. Then whenever you're ready, we're going to come back onto our forearms here. Coming back into plank, forearm plank. And what we're going to do is a set of plank walks where we are going to go ahead and take our forearms so that they are parallel to one another, creating the equal sign. The right or the left arm can be in front. Good. Feet together. And we're going to rotate onto the outer edge of our right foot, and the left foot can be in front here. And we can rise, left arm towards the ceiling. Good. And then place the left arm back to the ground. Go on to the outer edge of the left foot. Inhale, rise right arm towards the ceiling. Bring the right hand back down. Engage the core. Left arm rises. Create the equal sign. Outer edge of the left foot. Right arm rises. Good. Making sure that we keep our core engaged into the front, into the back, and going through these movements nice and gentle for our shoulder mobility. Two more on each side. And then once you've done your 2 more, come back to forearm plank. Hold for 8 seconds. Good. Slowly bring the hips down. Inhale into Sphinx pose. Good. And as we're here in your Sphinx pose, let's go ahead and bring the hands up to the side here. And this is a good time if you need a little additional support of putting a blanket underneath your pelvic, you can go ahead and do so. In which I'm going to go ahead and take my pillow. Since that blanket is in the wash. Good. And so you're going to take your hands out like you would in Cobra, but just take it out maybe a little bit further and come out onto your fingertips here. We're going to rotate our shoulders back. Press the feet into the ground, engage the core, and then as you engage your glutes, maybe you bring in the pelvic in very slightly so that we're nice and engaged in alignment with our quad and with our front core as well. Good. Nice booty engagement here, and rise up through the head, nose, chin, chest, stomach, and then exhale, release, stomach, chest, chin, nose, head. Inhale, rise, crown, nose, chin, chest, stomach. Exhale, release, stomach, chest, chin, nose, crown. And go ahead and go through these movements and don't even count the reps here. Just allow yourself to have this personal and concentrated time on your mat. Pressing the toes into the mat. Help keep you lifted here. Good. And then do one more round. And then bringing the arms forward, head onto the mat. And then for our next round, we're going to come into some locust, rising up into our locust pose, doing some exercises. So with our hands, we're going to clasp them behind our head and then bringing our elbows out here. Good. Actually, before we do the arms, why don't we just go ahead instead, bring our hands to the sides here just so that we can get a few repetitions of locust pose before we take our hands behind our head. So you go ahead, point the toes to the back of the mat, hands towards the back of the room or front if you wish. And we're going to inhale, rise, chest up, toes up. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms up, toes up. Exhale, release. And make sure that we engage our core here. That's going to help us rise. Good. Then place the hands forward, lower through the legs, and then shake up the hips a little bit here. Good. Then we can now take the hands behind the head here, elbows out to the sides, point the toes to the back of the room. And inhale, rise, press the head to the back of your hands, engage the core, toes up. Good. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Let's do 3 more. And then take the hands underneath your head here. Bring your right arm to the T and roll to the outer edge of the right shoulder here, coming onto your right hip. The left foot can stay behind. You want to make sure that your right arm is out to the T before you start rolling onto the right side. And then the next breath, you can go ahead, bring your left arm to the T, and then roll onto the outer edge. Your left hip here, right hip the stack. Good. Very gently come onto your stomach here. Nice. And then for our next move, we're going to go ahead, chaturanga, downward facing dog. Hip stop. Inhale, come forward, chaturanga. Inhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Go ahead 3 more times. Good. And then root to the left heel. Inhale, rise, right leg. Bend the knee, then bring the right foot forward. And then coming into high lunge, if you need to grab your blocks, you go ahead and do so. And frame your feet here. Square out through the hips and come into pyramid pose. Getting a little bit of that hamstring workout here. Good. And then as you are here in pyramid pose, make sure your spine is nice and neutral here. And then you can keep the right block behind the right foot, and we can open up into our triangle pose here. Good. As we open up into our triangle pose, you can go ahead and come extended and taking our right arm towards the front of the mat, hip hinging, opening up the chest more to the left side. And then we could take our left arm out forward, hold it for a breath. Engage the core. Inhale, rise, arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, side triangle. Inhale, rise, use the core to move. Exhale, side triangle. Good. And go ahead and do this 5 more times. And then square through the hips. Come into the pyramid pose. Nice. And then when you're here, why don't we go ahead, place the blocks in front of the mat, and then go through a vinyasa flow if you would like. And then I'm going to go root to the right heel. Inhale, rise, left leg up towards the ceiling. And then bend the knee, left foot forward. Straighten out through the left hip, come into pyramid pose. Grabbing onto the blocks. Does need to be outside of the left foot or possibly even further here. Good. Finding a half lift. Go straight spine. And letting your breath guide you into a forward fold. Once you go through the kneecaps. You can get the left block behind the left foot. Okay, inhale, rise. Right arm towards the ceiling. Going to Trikonasana for a couple breaths. Nice. And then you can bring the left arm forward. Right arm to follow. Good. One breath here in this extended triangle. And then inhale, rise, arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, extended triangle. Inhale, rise, use your core. Exhale, extend it 3 more times for a total of 5. Good. Square through the hips. Come into your pyramid pose once more. Take the blocks to the front of the mat. Meet your right foot to your left. And then slowly come onto your seated area. Wonderful. And so then from here, let's go ahead and just take a couple breaths to refine ourselves. Rotate the shoulders into the girdle. Hold that grain of rice. Go ahead and kind of shake out through the hips, knees side to side. And then we're going to go ahead and come into an inverted tabletop position. Chest is lifted, shoulders are away from the ears. And we're going to find that great core engagement here. And with that core engagement, glute engagement, inhale, rise, right shin up, point the toes up, point forward, rise, point the toes forward, slowly rise, and go ahead and do this 3 more times. Drop the knee, drop the hip, forward fold. All right, let's go ahead and we find our inverted tabletop position. And then rise up, inverted tabletop. Left shin parallel to the mat, and then straighten the left leg up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hover down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hover down. Inhale, rise. Hover down. 3 more times. Good. Hips down. Come forward here. Wonderful. We're going to come back into our inverted tabletop. Nice little crab leg style here. And this one's going to be a little tricky. So core is lifted, shoulders are back. We're going to engage through the core. Inhale, lift up through the right leg. And then with the left hand, go ahead and tap on the foot, hand down. Inhale, rise up left leg. Tap, right hand, down. Inhale, tap, down. Inhale, tap, down. And make sure that you do it nice and slow so that you're not toppling all over the place. Three more rounds. Don't rush it. Oh, that one's so fun. Let's go ahead. Paschimottanasana, forward fold here. Ooh. Either going onto the toes, onto the shins. If you have severe roundness into the spine, you can bend your knees in towards your stomach so that your hip hinge stays true. So we're coming towards the end of our practice here. What time is it? Yep. So we can go ahead and find our way onto the mat. Bring the arms out to the T. Bring the knees together. And then inhale, create some circulations with the knees, keeping the toes pointed. Reverse the rotation. And very slowly, you can walk the hips to the right side. Drop your knees to the left. Leg is over the right shoulder. Make sure the shoulder is onto the ground. Supine twist. And then very slowly rise with the knees. Scoot the hips over to the left side. Drop the knees to the right side. Left arm to the T. And then very slowly come into your Shavasana pose. Toes pointed forward, arms up. Inhale, rise. Bring the arms above overhead. Point the toes to the front of the mat. Taking a deep inhale in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And then in your Shavasana, you can go ahead and lie here for a few moments. Eyes closed, deepening your breath. And you can stay here in your Shavasana as long as you'd wish. Just remember that you are only as old as your spine. And thank you for coming to the 7 a.m. part of our yoga fun today. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.